On today's Happy Hour podcast, me and Kevin are talking Dennis Allen extension. It can happen, it might happen, and we're going to explain to you how it's going to happen. Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. Thanks for finding us on the YouTubes. Go to saintshappyhour.com, become a patron, and if you listen to us audio-only version, find us wherever you get your podcast. And go to saintshappyhour.com, Kevin, become an annual patron. Get the Jim Mora stickers. They're freaking amazing. You should do it. All you have to do, become an annual patron, any level, boom, they're yours. And guess what? They won't last forever. Once they're gone, they're gone. Thomas, I hope you leave that intro on like 4 times the speed. That was amazing. That was amazing. We're trying to get hip for the kids. All right. Today, me and Kevin, I said to Kevin, as we do the Friday show, and listen, we talk about practice. We got all the practice videos. We talk about the Saints in practice and the offensive line being terrible and the defensive line being awesome and no tight ends, and we break all that down. So we're going to go away from that today. We're going to do more of a macro type topic, saying economics way back when I was in college 50 years ago. So I said to Kevin, I said, I want both of us to come up with a couple of reasons why DA will get an extension. And it can't just be win 10 games, have a top 10 offense. Like, no. You got to be specific in your reasons why DA is going to get extended next summer. And I came up with 2 really specific ones. Kevin, do you want me to start, or do you want to comment on how ridiculous this topic is?
I'll come out of hibernation and get you.
Okay, so here's the thing, just on the general level for a Dennis Allen extension is, if the Saints win 10 games, he's getting an extension. Whether you like it or not, whether Kevin likes it or not, whether I like it or not. Because he'll have gone from 7 to 9 to 10 wins. The Saints ain't firing the coach that's gotten better every year. Whether you think he's a Super Bowl coach or because he's not. But if he wins 10 games, he's getting an extension. So it is possible. So my first thing that I said for DA to get an extension when I was looking at the Saints, a specific thing that must happen. The Saints must have 2 running backs that have at least 600 yards of rushing. It's not crazy. It's not a crazy thing, right, Kevin? But last year, they only had 1 running back that cranked over 500 yards. Alvin Kamara had 694. Taysom Hill had 401. Jamal Williams had 306 yards. They need 2 running backs with 600 yards because their running game has got to be significantly better, because I've heard the reports of the offensive line in training camp. And I'm not gonna pretend that I'm Juge and have a ton of people that I talk to about the Saints. But I do have a couple of people, a couple of eyes out at practice that I talked to, and they're like, the offensive line is bad. It is bad, and they got problems, and they got to fix it. So my thing is, they got to get that fixed, but they got to get a second running back to 600 yards. I don't know. Is that Kendra Miller? He gets healthy. Is that more carries for Taysom? Is that Jamal Williams not being terrible? Whatever it is, Kevin, two 600-yard rushers to help DA get an extension. That's my first one.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your second?
My second one, I was torn because I was going to go offense for both. But the thing is, if DA is going to get an extension, and if the Saints are going to, if the Saints are going to win and get to 10 plus wins and get to the playoffs, and that would obviously get DA an extension, he's got to be very much involved in it, which means the defense has got to be good, right? So my second one is, and I was thinking about this in sacks for the defense. And at first I was going to say, and I even said to you in pregame, I said the defense is going to get 45 sacks, but that's even too broad, I think, because they had 35 last year, basically. If you get Chase Young, if he gets 8, that almost gets you to 45. But I'm going to go more specific than that. The Saints linebackers, Demario Davis, Pete Werner, and I'm drawing a blank on the guy from Kansas City, Willie Gay.
Yeah.
Willie Gay. Between those three, they got to have 12 sacks. So
hang on a second. So you're saying Werner, Davis, Gay got
12 sacks
for 12 sacks. Okay.
So they had 7 last year.
Davis had 6. Davis had 6.5.
Werner had
half.
Yeah.
So that's 7.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see let me just check Willie Gay here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Willie Gay last year, 1 sack.
1 sack.
So they combined for 8. So you're asking them to improve by 50%.
Almost, yeah.
No, that is 50%.
Yeah.
50% of 8 is 4 plus 8 is 12.
It's 12.
So that is
12. So basically, what I'm saying is you got to get 12. So maybe Demario Davis goes down to 5, but Willie Gay, the Dennis Allen blitz package they want, maybe he gets 4, right? And that's 9, and Pete Werner gets you 3. I'm just saying you got to have 12 sacks from the 3 linebackers. Because Kevin, if you get
back from those 3, okay,
from those 3, and if you get 12 from those 3, and it's kind of evenly distributed, right? That to me is even like if you told me the ideal scenario for the 3 of them, it would be 4-4-4, because that way Dennis Allen, when he's got Gay and Demario Davis, or Gay and Werner, like he can combo it, and teams will be like, oh, we don't know who's coming. Whereas if you get 12 and it's 8 from Demario Davis, or 6.5 from Demario Davis, and 6 from 6.5 or 5.5 from Willie Gay, and none from Pete Werner, still good because you get more sacks, but not as good as if you get the balance of all 3. And I think the Saints linebackers are deep and good. Demario Davis had a hamstring. Hopefully that heals up quickly for the 35-year-old. But I think their linebackers and secondary are good. And those are my 2 things. Because I think if the linebackers are as good as we think they might be, gives Dennis Allen some flexibility in blitz packages and that sort of thing. Gotta have 12 sacks though, if DA is going to get extended. So what do you got? Did you come up with 2? Did you just think of them like right now and not do the homework? What? Oh man, they make me. I mean, not only that, you make me look bad.
No,
you make me look
4.
bad. Okay,
I have 4.
I love it.
Some of them do involve thinking on the fly.
Okay, I like it. We'll give
Jotting
it.
things down on the back of an envelope here.
That's right.
So I was looking over at the sacks, like you had mentioned, and you had talked about, we've even mentioned this on the Big Show about how 45 might be the magic number.
Yeah.
And I say no to that. 40. So the Saints had 35. That put them 2, 31, 30, 29 tie, 27
Ooh,
tie.
it's bad.
26th in the league. Putting them to 45 would get them just outside the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get them in the top 10.
Whoa, I love it.
So let's say instead of 45, let's most assuredly get them 49 or 50.
Ooh. Where does
If
49
they
get that?
50, that would get them one. Well, the Giants blew everybody away. They got 85 sacks. So
That's the offense. That's all. You're looking at offense. That's sacks given up.
I'm looking at defense.
I think that the Giants. That's off. That's sacks given up. I'm 100% sure you're looking at that. If it's the Giants,
The thing I have says Saints 35.
yeah.
I'm under the NFL.com stats under defense for 2023.
Okay.
It's listed under tackles,
Okay.
which. Look, do you want to pull up? Do you want to pull up the Giants? We can
Yes.
turn into a Giants podcast
Yeah, no.
temporarily.
Do
Giants
it.
stacks 2023. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
Giants stacks 2023. I love that we're doing that. Hey, this is
Yeah.
fun. No, this is fun. This is good.
Yeah.
Rushing, receiving, defense, sacks.
Quote from Wikipedia: the offensive line allowed an abysmal 85 sacks.
Yeah. The Ravens were number 1 with 60 sacks. I'm looking at it now.
Well, then why am I seeing the Saints?
But
at
if you
35?
but Kevin, if you put the Saints at 49, let's put them at 49
God damn it.
put them at 49 and a half sacks.
Hell,
That would
no.
make them 6th.
I hate NFL.com.
And NFL.com.
I hate NFL.com.
The NFL.com stats.
Okay.
Is
All
terrible.
right, I got okay.
Okay, go.
Sorry.
Go.
They have it listed under. Okay, they have it listed under passing defense. All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
60 sacks for the Ravens. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. 45 gets them. Actually, 45 gets them more to the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
If you
Middle.
want to get them top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It gets 50 gets them. 50
Yeah.
actually would get them pushing on the top 5.
That's right.
50
That's right.
sacks. So that
50.
means they are threatening the top 5 in sacks.
That's right.
That's one. Because here's what I was thinking this whole time. Obviously, 10 wins. He's staying. 9 wins and they make the playoffs. I think he's staying.
That's right.
The stuff that is going to determine if he stays, primarily defense.
Yeah.
He's the defensive guy. Because let's say Derek Carr throws for 30 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns, and throws for like just 10 interceptions. Kubiak's going to get the credit for that. Let's say Kamara goes up for 800 yards rushing. Let's say, that the Saints rushing game goes up to middle of the pack. Let's say that they're not entirely.
It's all Kubiak. Yeah.
Kubiak. If Bub Means becomes something, Kubiak.
Kubiak. Yeah.
If A.T. Perry makes more catches and becomes like a legitimate number 3, or like Rashid Shaheed becomes a legitimate number 2, Kubiak.
That's right.
Because the Saints fandom is wired,
That's right. They are.
primed and ready to credit Clint Kubiak for anything good that the offense will do.
That's right.
That's going to happen. They
Yes.
will begrudgingly say, man, Carr made some good throws. Kubiak really drew that stuff up.
That's right.
And again, maybe that is it. So take that out. Defense. So sacks, threatening the top 5. I'm also going to throw you. Let me get rid of this Giants. Let me get rid of these Giants numbers here that I was looking at. God damn it. Can't believe I did all that.
Poor Tommy DeVito got murdered.
Whatever, who cares? The Saints drafted where I had these guys pulled up. The Saints rushing defense needs to be way better.
Yeah.
They were in the bottom.
That's right.
Oh, they were mid-tier. They were just outside the top 10. in rushing in yards allowed.
Yeah, but the more
They
advanced
gave up
statistics were not good.
38 yards rushing
Yeah.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
That was 4.4 yards per carry, which, again, just outside the top 10. I'm saying they're going to get a lot closer to 4 yards per
That's
carry.
right. If DA wants to get extended, yeah.
Which would put them, I'm going to put them somewhere in the 17 to 1800 range,
Mm-hmm.
which again gets them either just inside the top 10 or just outside. So basically,
And this is
8 to 12. So I'm saying your rushing defense is going to improve,
Mm-hmm.
and your sacks is going to improve. Now here come the other two things.
Okay. One thing I want to say, it's a great point you made on the rushing defense, and here's why. When Dennis Allen's defense is amazing, when it has been, and listen, DA, mediocre coach, we get it. But the reason he got the gig, even though he was terrible with the Raiders, is because the Saints defense has been amazing since 2017. And the key fundamental thing for that is the Saints could stop the run in the nickel and the dime defense. And they need to get back to that. That's always been the secret sauce of the DA defense. They need to get back to that. So that's a great point by you. What's your next one?
It's really weird because like the Saints had a really good time of possession in 2023.
Yeah.
But my other two are player specific.
Go. Hit me.
One, Kool-Aid McKinstry
Ooh, I like this.
becomes a starter by 2025. Plays well enough that he can become a starter in 2025. Meaning he's going to play better than either Adebo or Lattimore.
Ooh, okay.
So we'll go with that. And in fact, let me try and give you a number here because I want to make sure I've got this right. So I've got the players pulled up here. Do I have the players pulled up here? Yes, I do. Thank you. Interceptions. So McKinstry, he's going to get it. I'm looking actually at Lattimore's number here. That. I will say McKinstry is going to get 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to finish with 80 tackles.
Wow.
2 tackles that immediately lines him up to be a starter for 2025. The fourth thing, the second player, I'm looking at depth here. Jaylan Ford.
Ooh, I like
Jaylan
this.
Ford becomes the immediate plug-and-play guy for the Saints at linebacker at any position.
Oh, I like that.
He becomes, and so what does that mean? I mean, look, I could have picked Orji, I could have picked Nefi Sewell, I could have picked anybody else, I could have picked Khaleke Hudson. No, I went with Jaylan Ford because he was drafted this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I went with McKinstry. I wanted 2 guys that were picked this past season that I'm thinking, if Dennis Allen is this great defensive mind, he's got to be able to make something out of McKinstry immediately, and he's got to get Jaylan Ford to show that there's something there.
See, I love that.
Round pick is a guy who can either get a good number of snaps or even fill in and start games.
Yeah, see, I love that. I love it because the thing is, Kevin, you know this. Whenever a team, like let's be realistic. The national media, even the local people, podcasts, they're not really excited about the 2024 Saints. A lot of the national media are kind of trying to manifest the Saints collapsing and being like getting a top 4 pick. So that's what they want to happen. But obviously, like when a team kind of surprises, right, and they're better than people think, it always involves draft picks that are 5th, 6th, 7th round picks being good. I'll give you an example. Last year, everybody was like, the Rams are going to suck. Their defense is terrible. It's all rookies. But guess what? like 3 of the dudes they drafted ended up being really good on the
Yeah.
defensive line. So it was fixed. And we'll see how they do without Aaron Donald. But my point is, if the Saints are going to be good this year, it's going to involve Ford or that offensive tackle they drafted in the 7th round being like, oh my God, the offensive line is fixed because...
Brother, let me tell you, if Josiah Ezram becomes a starter and if he has to start, we're in trouble. But if he somehow starts and is actually good, this team has a horseshoe up its ass.
That's right. But that's what happens.
But again, who's going to get credit for that?
That would be Kubiak. The funny thing about Kubiak is, and I'll ask people will be like, because Kubiak's getting good reviews, good write-ups in training camp, which is good. You don't want people like Nick Underhill or Luke Johnson to be like, the offense doesn't know what they're doing. They had to start practice over because they don't know the plays, which, by the way, happened last year for the Patriots, and they ended up picking top 3. So you want good reviews of Kubiak, but it's funny to me how Saints fans are like, he's more of a head coach than DA. Clearly, he's got head coaching timber and DA doesn't. And I'm like, how do you know that? How do you know that? Like, what makes you think he's better than DA? Like, DA is not good, but what has given you any indication that Kubiak is going to be a better head coach? And it's just because we hate DA. We hate DA, and we want Kubiak to be good. So we pretend that he is.
Gary Kubiak has a lifetime career record of 82-75. Even with the Super Bowl championship, I don't think that that's not a Hall of Fame coach resume.
And Clint is his son. Was Clint on the staff?
Right. So if people are talking about, Clint's got it in him or whatever, like you said, something to do with timber or whatever the hell. Gary Kubiak had 1 winning season his first 5 seasons of coaching. And then, and that was with Houston, and then got, bottomed out in 2013, then jumped to Denver and happened to hit Peyton Manning, and an all-time great defense and rode that to a Super Bowl win. And then 1 more year later, winning record, just got over it, and then said, you know what, I'm out, to hell with it. Like, where do we see... Are the other Kubiak kids like Gary Kubiak's sons? Because now you got me. Now y'all got me.
Other ones are in there.
Wondering here. Right. Like, have any... I don't... Klein Kubiak, Clay... I still can't get over this.
Whatever. I mean...
Clay Kubiak is not a head coach. Right? He's not a head coach. He's an assistant head coach. Klein Kubiak... was a wide receiver, and he's in the personnel department, I think, for the damn Cowboys. Like, I don't know what like where does that come from? Okay, he's from a football family. All right, you want to use that to just say, all right, the guy's got some bona fides. He's from a football family. He's from an offensive-minded, family. Great. But to act like that immediately somehow makes him a head football coach, that's silly. That's absolutely silly.
So you gave all your reasons, and we're not gonna wrap this up by.
Listen, here's the thing: if the Saints look, what's the most important number? The wins. Yeah. Duh. If the Saints get 10 wins and they're middle of the field in offense and defense, he's staying. Yeah, he's staying. If they go 6-11 and Kool-Aid McKinstry wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, he's getting fired. Okay, he's getting fired. But I'm trying to give you other things to look for other than wins. Because if the defense is playing better, and the defense was already pretty good last year, but if the sacks improve,
that's right.
Like I'm saying, if the rushing defense improves, like I'm saying, this team is going to be in a lot more games. And if this offense even nudges up slightly, they can win. They can get to 10 wins, and here's the wins, and be the division champion.
And here's the thing that I think gives me real hope. If Chase Young and the linebacker depth that they have, if it's really good, you know this, Kevin, sacks swing games late. If you can pressure the quarterback and get sacks, you can swing games because sacks create turnovers, they create pressure, they swing games, and that's critical. The one thing that I thought about putting on my thing, that one of my two that I didn't, because I thought it was too easy, is Blake Grupe has to be amazing. Because the Saints are right on that edge, and we've talked about that when me and you did thing that'll get better, thing that'll get worse, and you picked the kicker to get worse. The Saints are in that, because the Saints are in, if they do okay this year, they're in that group of teams that's like the difference between 10 wins and the difference between 7 wins is not that much. And a lot of times it comes down to, did your kicker have the stones to make big kicks? So I thought about making the kicker be really, really good, but I didn't because I thought that was kind of cliche and too easy. But that's something else too. I want to wrap up with this, Kevin, is this team, with what they've done so far this year, how would you, as a guy who is like me, is very emotional and that sort of thing, are you, because my vibes from this training camp are not, the vibes aren't great for the Saints. How would you rate you're a vibes guy, me and you. How would you rate the training camp vibes from everything you've seen, read, consumed on social media? How would you rate the Saints training camp vibes so far?
I think people are obviously there's stuff about Penning and Lattimore, Olave. Trying to think, there was a fourth guy that had like some. It might have even been Juwan Johnson. I don't know.
Juwan Johnson, Demario Davis,
but
got a little mix.
It's like everybody. I think it's a lot easier to focus on. Man, this guy's dinged up. He's nicked up.
That's
this
right.
guy, like,
Nicked.
Oh my God, what the hell's going to happen with this guy? Like this team is held up by threads. But I think positives about Mason Tipton, like obviously Mason Tipton so far is like the training camp MVP.
Darling.
He's going to get the Adrian Arrington Award.
Yeah, he's locking it down. It's on lockdown.
And not Cam Jordan, Chase Young has looked really good. Like in terms of vibes, I'm very much in a just the glass is just instead of glass half full, glass half empty. I'm just looking at it like the glass is just there. Like I'm not seeing like
it's there.
Again. There's like little things you can point to, but again, if you want me to go big picture vibe, I'll just say I don't feel enough. I'm not getting enough to feel good vibe.
We need the Saints to stomp.
The vibes aren't bad or catastrophic. They're just like
we need the Saints to stomp somebody out in the preseason. If I was DA,
or show some real fire, like not just against one another. If they're training against somebody like the 49ers,
yeah.
I need Penning to pancake a motherfucker
That's
and
right.
somebody to try and pick a fight, and Penning to try and fight 2 guys at once.
I
want to see something like that. Show me some of that corn-fed fire from Northern Iowa or wherever the hell you're from.
Like I would game plan if I was DA. I would game plan a little for the Cardinals, and I would just try to be like, we're going to game plan a little. We're going to do some fun stuff and try to stomp them out. Just to have one of those games where you're like, oh my God, it's halftime and the Saints are up 24-0. Do we need to change everything we thought about the 2024 Saints just to inject some optimism up in there? So guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to saintshappyhour.com. Become a patron. Become an annual patron and get your Jim Mora stickers. They're amazing. You should do it. We need you guys' support to help grow the show and keep it going. So for Kevin, for Thomas running the show back in Poland, as always, the best producer on earth, thank you, sir. And until next time, the bar is closed.